Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and my guest today is Kathy Hester. When most people get a new appliance, they do things like watch a YouTube video, how to use it, maybe they'll read the book, but not me. I text Kathy the four-letter word help, and I got this really cool, I can't lift it. Well, maybe I can. So all my friends said you got to get the Nama milk maker, and I know it's really easy to use. It's got to be easier to use than the Ninja Creamy Swirl since she just taught me. But Kathy is such an excellent teacher. Like she's going to really demystify it, step by step, show us how to use this. Anybody says that this is the best plant milk maker of all. But before I introduce Kathy, I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for all your kind messages and posts on Facebook and Instagram. I will never be able to check them. They're in the thousands now. Our beloved dog Bailey passed away yesterday at 6:20 p.m. She wasn't sick. Just it just happens. And she was the love of my life. And she was my buddy for all my cancer treatments, and we'll miss her. And thank you so much for all your kind comments. But without further ado, we have the Nama Milk Maker Wizard in the house, Kathy Hester. You are so good at okay, not if I were you. But you have a lot of YouTube channels already, but you could have a channel just on like how to use appliances for dummies. You're that good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, and some of it, I was thinking about this. I used to be a trainer for teaching people how to use computers. And so I think I kind of got that, taking everything down to the smallest common denominator. So on YouTube, people either love me or don't. Like the people who are looking for the 10-second video about how to open up this are not going to like my unboxing video that's an hour and a half, right? But what we're going to do today is the Nama is one of the easiest milk makers to use. I will say that. And I find the way it was set up, I really like. I really like a lot about it. The only thing it doesn't have that other milk makers might have is a heating element. So what that means, and I'm going to do this on my channel later on, I just haven't yet. If you want to make soy milk, you're going to have to cook soybeans and then use this machine. That's the only thing, which I know Chef AJ is not interesting to you because you can't have beans at all.
Right. And I was always allergic to soy. And the weird thing is like, okay, with soy milk, you can buy a really clean soy milk, literally soybeans and water. That's available. But I've
Mhm.
never seen, like just oats and water. Have you? It's always like oats and water and salt and maybe sugar. So I mean, this is so cool. This will save people a lot of money eventually, right? Once they make their own plant milk.
It will. And I hesitate because this one it's about $400. So it is on the higher end of pricing. However, you don't have to strain and you don't have to soak
That
most
that's a
things.
big deal though. That's a time saver.
It really is. So like, and we'll talk about a lot of different things and like how you could change things from one thing to another or making creamers. But we're going to start with just the absolute basics about the machine. Then we're going to make a basic almond milk, a basic oat milk, and then depending on time, we're going to have an extravaganza of plant milk goodness.
Yeah. What's interesting is it came with a lovely book, like a really, really nice recipe
It
book.
really is a good book. And it's got photos and everything. And we're going to make a couple of recipes out of this, I think. And then I've got a couple of recipes from their website. When you're looking on the website, make sure it's for the milk maker and not the juicer. If you can make almond milk in your juicer, but you have to soak the almonds, you have to do those things. So you might see a little bit different ingredients. Now, another thing is you've got your little how-to manual, and this is so simple. If you just watch me, unless something happens and you need like one of the error codes or something, you're not going to need this. Save it for troubleshooting though, because trouble always finds you. And Chef AJ and anybody who's got this who just hasn't looked at it, this quick start like folio or brochure or whatever is the best. Look, you open it up, it's got pictures, it tells you everything. And that's all it is that little inside part. So we can always keep this, and it's like, Shows you how to put the chamber together, how to put the cord in, how to add the stuff, and even how to get the pulp out. So if you are a person who's a little nervous around stuff, keep this to the side of your milk maker until you feel more comfortable.
Hey, Kathy, the only other milk maker I had, and I still have it, and I don't use it for milk because it's so cumbersome and large, the Nutra milk. I use it when I make Charles nut butter, but somebody's asking about a machine called an almond cow. And
Yeah.
Marjoy says, I have the almond cow. Is this better? Can you make nut creams better than other machines?
Okay, so I have, if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, I have a whole thing reviewing different milk makers. I haven't added this, and I think the Mia which is not behind me like it usually is my favorite one. Mia Soy Joy, Soy Bella, and Almond Cow are very common ones. Everything but the almond cow does heat. So what I don't love about the almond cow is there isn't heat, and I feel the need to strain even though there is a strainer mechanism. This will give you better strained milk, absolutely. And when you see how easy it is to clean, the almond cow isn't as hard to clean. Actually, none of them are hard to clean. When you make soy milk, though, the okara or soy milk pulp likes to stick to the stainless steel, so you just need a proper brush. If you have a really good brush, it goes really fast. And so we can take different questions about comparing and contrasting. I think what I get questions about the most is what's the easiest way? And honestly, I think this is the easiest way. I have been using this. I've been making a lot of almond milk, and we'll talk about that. So let's go and kind of look at this. So we have this main container with the spout. So be aware, I think there's also a little thing that'll say that your spout is
Wait.
open if you
All
turn
right,
it
so
on.
here's mine. So I've got something in there. Maybe I have to take it off,
That's
huh?
okay. No, you can leave it in there and I'll just show you. So that's the spout there. And just know it's there.
Okay, and there's a little plus sign, open and close. And
Yeah.
so I
So you
guess it
want
comes in different colors. You have white and I have black.
to, okay.
All right.
And so we want it closed when we're pouring the water in, right? Then the other things that are in yours, I'll show you really quick. You have this, which is the strainer, and it's a really, I'll show you from up top. It's a really great fine mesh strainer. In fact, it's even finer than my finest milk strainer.
Wow, this is cool.
And then what happens, Chef AJ, if you want to sit the big part down and then just take that back, just take the middle part out,
Yep, got it right here.
grab this. Oh, here, sorry. I'm still up above. If you grab right here and you just pull and it comes back out.
Oh, got it. Woo,
And
woohoo.
then you put it back in.
Nice.
And then to put it in here is really easy. So there's some little things here. You see down there, it kind of matches that. It sounds really hard, but literally, I'm just going to put it in and move it until it's in. It's easier than the Ninja Creamy stuff. And it'll spin if it's in there right.
And it only spins counterclockwise, correct?
Yes, I never tried it the other way, but
Yeah.
yes, that is true.
Yeah, well, so far it's easy.
Yep. Okay, now if we get the base, one thing you'll notice is there's this part is solid. There's a little part here and here. So when we look upside down, it fits only one way. This part goes here, this goes over there, and there's the place. So that's it. And now it's together.
Oh my God, that was easy. Like really, literally only fits one way. And then there's a
Right?
cord.
Right. Okay. And then I even have the cord out. So if we have the cord, and let's see, I could probably show you a little better here. So it goes in here. Let me look and see which ways. Yeah, goes in here. And then this is the on-off switch. So if we plug it in right now and it's on the off switch, nothing's going to happen, right? So you don't see anything here. And you're getting it plugged in.
I can't really plug it in where I am, but I'm good. But what does it say? Because mine is black. What does it say in the circle? What are the words written on the circle?
This circle that's showing you
Yeah,
now,
what does yours say?
start, cancel.
I got it. There's only two buttons. So yeah, this is the plug. I'm
Okay.
not actually going to be making milk in here, but
Okay, good, because I spy an open thing here. And we want to make sure this is closed before we put any liquid in there. Okay, because if not, it's just going to come out over your counter. It also comes with this guy, a little pitcher with a top, so you can make your milk and just use this pitcher and put the lid on and put it in your fridge. And there's two other parts. One we're going to talk about in just a minute, which is the cover for this when we're making it. We'll be putting that on. And I'll briefly show you this guy. This has some almond pulp in it now. It comes with this cool, and I love this. I love this a lot because dealing with pulp, so this has this resealable silicone container where I empty the pulp right into here, close it, and put it in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. And honestly, this is awesome. And we'll talk about why my almond pulp is white in just a minute.
I'm
And
guessing maybe you use blanched almonds.
yes, and I've got two almonds we'll use different. So these are the blanched almonds, so they're skinned. These have skins. And you don't have to use blanched almonds. However, I like doing it because then I get this really white pulp. And I've been making queso fresca to put on tacos. I've been making ricotta cheese with this to make a lasagna, or you could do eggplant roll-ups with it. Um, and so we're going to make the
Well, can
first
you
one.
make eggplant parmesan?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I haven't had a plant-based one that's like super healthy. Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we can make that in the crispy because,
Absolutely.
yeah, we
Okay.
could do that and we can make a ricotta out of this.
That'd be so cool. So wait, this thing, I guess
Mine's
I
over here.
didn't pay attention. Okay.
Why? Okay.
So,
Oh,
and everything only goes one way. So it's not, if you can't get it on, you got it the wrong way. By the way, I just got a discount code, guys, 10% off this machine. I'm
and
going
you have
to
to give it
post
back
it
to me.
in the chat.
Cheryl's wanting my phone. Sorry about that. Then I have to get it back to show you how to clean this. All right. So literally, it takes longer to take it out of the box, and each one of these things comes in a beautiful little bag that you can reuse. Do not throw this guy away. Make sure that you get this one. This is the best thing ever, my favorite. So you have everything you need to make milk. Okay. This is the weirdest thing ever.
Your Facebook's word.
All right. Okay. So we're going to take the cover off of this because that's only for when milk comes in. Now, one thing I want you to see, because it's not turned on, but look at this. When I turn it on, it says
Oh, how
hello,
friendly. And you haven't even done anything.
right? And it's saying close lid. Like literally, it's telling me this top lid is not on there. And I believe it also, does it? No, I think at some point it'll tell me if this isn't closed. But I haven't really tested that. All right, so now you know that's what's going on. That tells me it's ready to go, not except for this lid and putting things in. So Nama says to put about a cup of almonds. I usually use about 3/4. Like any milk recipe, if you go back to what kind of milk did you like? Did you like skim milk, 2%, half and half, right? So less ingredients for less fat, less calorie dense milk, or to get kind of skim milk, more of the main ingredient to make it thicker, creamier, whatever. There's some in between. So like if you wanted the calorie density of skim milk, but you want it to feel a little more like 2% milk, you could put like 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of ground chia seeds, let that kind of thicken it up. So that's the most natural way. And that's why you see a lot of nut and oat milks and things like that that have thickeners in them, right? That have some different things. It's because people are expecting a certain mouthfeel and creaminess. So if you get the Nama, if you have the almond cow, if you're using the soy Bella, it doesn't matter. These rules go for all milk makers, okay? Even though we're just making this here. Now, you can, again, soak your almonds or not. So if you are on team, I digest better when I soak my almonds, then stay on that team. Sometimes I'm on team, I need something for my coffee right now. So, so I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't soak, but we're not going to today. And again, the only reason I'm using blanched almonds instead of these others is so I can have a really nice white pulp that I'm going to reuse and
Kathy, do
things
you
that
blanch your almonds yourself or do you buy them blanched?
uh, I've actually soaked almonds and pushed them out of their little peels before, but what I've been doing is on Amazon, I've just been buying these U picks and it's great. And it's not really that much more expensive. When I get regular almonds, I'm just getting them at Costco. You can go ahead and get organic almonds from wherever local farm that you love. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the things about making your own milk, the first thing you think about is how expensive is the machine. But think about how expensive milk is right now. And when you're getting something like an almond breeze, you might be only getting a tablespoon of almonds or less in that whole carton. So that's something else. So literally, this is how easy it is to make almond milk. You're gonna die that we're doing this. Anywhere from a half a cup to a whole cup of almonds. Honestly, you could use a quarter cup if you want. I've got 4 cups of water. There is a max fill line. This is under it. Just make sure you don't go over it. I'm trying to see if I can, it's about here. So I am about a third of an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch. Let's see if I can. I think that's too high. I'll show you
Okay,
here.
so you're putting the water, you put the water in first or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. It's going to mix it all up. So you put it in as you want. So and this is a great first way to do this. It's crazy. So you can, now I'm going to put this on, and this lid does go on a certain way. So there's a little locking mechanism here. There's a little tab here. So we're just going to slide it into that and it clicks. And then now, look, it says 1 minute instead of closed lid. And there's a minus and a plus, so I can make it go down or up. Honestly, I'm lazy sometimes. I got things to do. I just press the button. 1 minute is just as fine as 50 seconds. I noticed some of their recipes were 50 seconds, and I'm like, that's too much thinking. So literally, I'm going to push this button. It's going to go for 1 minute, and then it's going to give me instructions to open this up. And then it's going to do something else, I think, for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to push it, and then it'll start counting down. And it's not that terribly loud.
No, not at all.
It's counting down for you. And Chef AJ, I'm thinking of doing a milk and pulp cookbook for next year, maybe like in January or something.
That is so cool.
Because I love using soy okara for different things, but I've been testing this. So another thing, I'm going to walk away from this so I'm not yelling at you. Is I use okara and milk pulp in my Ninja Creamy Pints, right? So this can be used in Ninja Creamy Pie. So see, now it says open spout. It literally tells you what to do. So I'm going to open the spout and it's still going to do something cool. See how it's counting down? So it's letting all of this out and then it's going to start spinning it out with centrifugal force to get more milk out and to make the pulp drier. So a little bit like the Nutrimilk did,
But
only
but that's so much quicker.
it's faster, it's easier to store than the Nutrimilk. It's not as heavy. I do like this better than the Nutrimilk, but that's just a personal thing. I think it's very easy to manage. So it's just spinning, spinning, spinning. And we're going to make some different recipes too, but I wanted to show you if you just want some almond milk. And almond milk that you're making with a half a cup of almonds or more will froth with a frother. So you can make, so I'm just, me being me, I'm going to get every last drop out because I can lift this up. It's all contained, which is also nice. This isn't like screwed on there. So I'm going to close this back up. Theoretically, I should turn it off. So we'll turn it off. So this is, look how pretty. And it's all nice and frothy just from going from the machine. New milk is almost always frothy. And I'm just gonna, let's see, I have a whole bunch of containers over here because we're gonna make a bunch of milks. And I'm just, you could rinse this out. Ooh. Oh, thanks for saving me, Spout. Since we're gonna make a flavored almond milk, I'm not even gonna worry about that. Then what's going to happen is I will just cover this and put this in the fridge. And I can label it or something like that. The next step before we do the cleaning, I'm going to open up my pulp mat. I'm going to unlock this. Then I'm going to pull this out. Really lift it out is probably a better way. When you see this pulp, okay, so now I'm just going to pull this out. It's a little harder because it's got stuff in there. See, look at those sheets of pulp.
That's so cool. You know, when we make plant milk at Rancho La Puerta, we like make truffles out of it. You can make things out of it. You could dehydrate it and make almond flour even.
Absolutely. There's no reason you can't use this. Now, what I will say, if I'm making oat milk, which we're going to do in a little bit, I will go ahead and probably use that for truffles. Other than it's not going to keep as long, or to bake. You can make cookies. You could put it in your oatmeal. You could do all kinds of stuff with it if you want. And we can get more of that off, but is that not the easiest? I can even be a little OCD and come through here and just get a little bit more out if I want. But there's not much in here. Look, this is all we're talking. A teaspoon or two. And I don't know why I put that in there. So I can put this back in because we're going to make a flavored almond milk.
Is it dry or is it wet?
It is moist. It is more dry than it is wet, though. You would if you were going to use it for almond flour, you would still want to dehydrate it. But see, it still sticks a little bit, but it's much drier than if you did either a nut bag or my fine mesh strainer. Then you just pop it over. Put the sides because sometimes you don't have time to deal with this yet, but you don't want to really throw it away. And I pop that right in the fridge. Now, all I have to do, and if you go to healthyslowcooking.com, look up my Okara ricotta. Just use this in place of Okara, and you can make your own ricotta for free. That's what kills me. It's like free. And it's pretty awesome. So I thought we would do another one where we use the regular almonds and we'll make it into like vanilla almond milk.
Yum. Hey, Kathy, I got a really good question here. And
Absolutely.
we've talked about this before when it came to other machines because, you know, I'm loving, we did a show a few weeks ago where you taught me how to make the Ninja Creamy Swirl. And I just love that machine because I think it tastes better swirled. I don't know why it does. And the Ninja, people say, well, I can do this in my blender. And it's like, well, show me how, because I can't get it to swirl in my blender and be that texture. But Freezer Meals with Lisa is asking, I would like to ask, it is so expensive. And do I really save money buying this expensive machine and I still have to buy all the raw ingredients? What have you figured out? So, the first batch is going to cost you $400 because, well, I just gave you a 10% discount code. So it costs you 360. But if it's something you use over time, I think it definitely does save you money if you're a regular user of plant milk because and it's definitely healthier, but I'll let Kathy weigh in.
Now, I haven't done the math, and it also depends on what you're using. So I will say this, I tend to believe if you're just using oat milk and you need to make it every 3 days, using your blender is probably great. If it's because then you're not grinding it as fine, you're not straining it out the same way, and you could use it to make truffles. I don't feel as bad about getting rid of oat pulp or composting oat pulp. I feel like composting almond pulp is like throwing away money because this much Kite Hill almond ricotta would cost you about $20. So if you would use it that way, or you buy almond flour or anything like that, I think it will add up very quickly. There, with food going up so much, I know we can find some generic milks somewhere, plant milks, but I do feel like if you want some specialty things, if you want walnut milk, pistachio milk, if you want, even if you're looking at, I think Elmer's has a lot of specialty plant milks, and they're $7 or $8
Yeah,
each.
the ones that are the healthiest, interestingly, are the most expensive.
Right, because they have to put more care in their packaging process too, because they're not using any kind of preservatives. Um, you have to kind of that it's helpful to look at my article on plant milk makers because I can't give you the right scenario for you without you talking to me. So like some people I'll say this milk maker might be better for you or that milk maker. But I think this is the easiest. This is for lazy people. This is for people who don't want to strain, who don't want to mess with nut milk bags. And if that's you, I think you can earn your money back. Like I could make stuff for Ninja Creamies right in here and then just mix it with a little bit of whole food plant-based thickener. So I could also then save money on ice creams. I can save money on milks. I can save money on cheeses by using this as a queso fresca, ricotta. If you're not going to do any of that and you just want to make really cheap oat milk and you have a blender, then that might be the best idea for you. With machines, and you'll see this cleans itself kind of like, we'll clean it after this next one, but it kind of cleans itself like a Vitamix will. We're going to put a couple of drops of dish detergent, some water, and then we'll rinse everything in the sink, which is why I have a camera back there, just so you can see that I'm not doing anything funny. So let's go ahead and make a vanilla almond milk. So I'm putting regular almonds. I'm not going to save those for my ricotta, living on the edge. I'm going to you could use vanilla powder. You could use a different extract instead of vanilla. I'm going to put probably about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And you can pick as many dates as you want. You could also use maple syrup. We could try doing date powder in something. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but we could do that. We could put cocoa powder. So I'm going to put about 3. We'll try 3. We'll do 4 because I'm going to use this like a creamer. 3.5. 3.5 looks good. Okay. Now I'm going to put my 4 cups of water. If I wanted this to be a creamer instead of a milk, I could use 2 to 3 cups of water instead. Does that make it higher calorie density? Of course it does.
Yeah.
And so is the creamer that you buy at the store.
Yeah. So the less water, the lower the caloric density.
The less water, the more caloric density, the more water, the
The
less.
less, yeah, okay. Water is going to dilute the caloric density. So if you use a
Yeah.
cup of water, it's going to be more calorically dense, no matter how much nuts or seeds you use, than if you use two, three, or four. Okay.
Right. Just for people, because I know a lot of people are looking for that calorie density. And almonds are going to be more than oats, right? I wouldn't buy this machine if I was only going to make oat milk. However, now that I own this machine, I will. You know what I mean? So that's something else to think about if you are willing to experiment with some stuff. Okay, here we go. Same process,
I mean, that's incredible. Like there's no buttons. I mean, there's one button. Like how can you mess up?
right? Yeah, it's very easy. I find that this is the most intuitive machine that I've seen in a very long time. I feel like a lot of thought was put into this. I feel like a lot of milk maker reviews were read. And one of the things I do want to do for soy is I want to cook up a bunch of soybeans, put them in Ziplocs for the amount of one thing, and then I could just pull it out of the freezer and make soy milk. And hopefully I'll do a video on my channel, so you can be sure to follow me. Just look up Kathy Hester on YouTube and come hang out with me there and here. Hang out with me everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I miss having you on every month, but you were having you on almost every month actually, with the couple of the shows we have coming on, and the last one, which was so much fun because I was in the kitchen with you.
Yeah. And see, I felt really confident you didn't need to necessarily do this along with me, but see, look, and it
No,
even just,
this is actually I think I could act. I actually might have even been able to read the book on this one. But when somebody has a friend like Kathy that's willing to explain it to you, it's
well, and
so
that's the
lucky.
thing though, but with other milk makers, there's like the ones with heat, you have a lot of heat temperatures to choose from. So you need to know some information about that, which I talk about in the recipes I've made on YouTube with them. The Almond Cow has some recipes on the Almond Cow site, but it's just push one button, and I find I need to push that one button like 2 or 3 times. So I find for over $200 that I don't think the mechanics and the design of that is necessarily worth it. Those of you who love your Almond Cow, I support you in that. It's just I'm telling the new people so they know, and I think this is a better choice.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
don't already have one, get the best. And that's like what we said about the Ninja. If you have a Ninja, you don't have to buy the swirl. But if you don't have a Ninja, why not get the best one that they have?
So good. So you can make it sweeter if you wanted it sweeter, less sweet. But if you ever buy regular vanilla almond milk, this is it for you. And again, you can make it, that in here, have like 80,000 bottles for all this demo over there. And this is actually the jar that came with the Almond Cow, but you can buy these on Amazon and it
Wait, did I
holds.
get one of those? Oh my gosh, we unboxed it. So this is the thing. We unbox it and it takes us months to use it like the juicer. Charles, did we get a plastic pitcher that came with the Nama milk maker somewhere?
Yes, you do have this.
Wow, I wonder where I put it.
And it has this lid. But do you know what? If you don't have it, a measuring cup will work just fine.
Yeah, or jars, like those like ball jars are great.
Yeah, since I'm making this here, I'll show you that with this one for the next one. So I
Oh,
don't have to wash it all out. Oh,
ooh, okay. So we have an unbiased opinion here from a live viewer, Tanya. I replaced my almond cow with the Mama M1 and it works better. So there we have it.
I know Tanya, and I don't think she has unbiased opinions, but she loves the Nama. I think she's great.
Yeah.
And I know she loves her Nama. Let's see if I
But
can just get
Kathy,
the,
do you have their juicer? Because I mean, their juicer is fantastic.
I have a different brand juicer. I have the Huram.
Yeah. Hurum. Okay.
Huram. Okay, so with the dates, and actually here, I'll do it from the top. So we're going to see a different color pulp because I didn't use the blanched almonds. And it also has little teeny tiny date pieces.
That would be great for making truffles.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Anything that you use that you're making dates with or adding dates to, that would be great for truffles because they're already a little bit sweetened, right? And I would just add some oat flour. You could add some cocoa, carob, matcha. You could add a little bit. We've got vanilla in here, but you could add some lemon zest and make vanilla lemon truffles.
I'll tell you what, if anybody really, and I haven't watched these videos yet, but Kathy, are you familiar with John Kohler? He actually sells a bunch of machines like juicers and stuff,
No,
juicers.
wait,
So
maybe,
he's the
maybe.
reason I got the Nutrimilk a long time ago, because at the time he said that was the best machine available at the time, that a lot of them weren't out yet. But he has reviews of the almond cow versus the Nama on his YouTube channel, which makes the creamiest milk and which has the driest pulp. So you can
Oh,
check those out. Maybe I'll have him back on the show and see for yourself. But I feel like his reviews are very good of machines.
this pulp is going to be the driest of all the machines. And I even have a special thing that, and so you don't have to have every tiny bit off. I'm just trying, I want to save it. So now I'm going to put this back in here, whoop, and slide it too hard across there. I'm going to put some water in here and on the counter. And they say, I think you can do 30 seconds. Again, I just let everything do a minute. I'm going to do like a little drop of, like a drop, because we don't want to make the mad soap machine. And I'm going to let it clean most of itself.
So you just put like one drop of dish soap and that's all. Oh, maybe she can't hear me.
You're probably asking me a question, but I can't hear
Yeah.
exactly. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I said you just put like one drop of dish soap. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I do when I clean the Vitamix too, is like a drop or two. We're still gonna rinse this off. And I do find when we're using almonds, and especially this much almond, I might need to use a scrubber a little bit because it might have a little bit of oily residue. But I'm being very nitpicky. You can pretty much rinse it and go.
Nice. So why do you have to rinse it on the base and not just like wash it in the sink? Is that just to get every last bit of pulp out?
Say that one more time.
I'm curious why you have to rinse it on the base and turn it on, and it's not enough to
You,
just wash it in the sink.
you don't have to. This is just another way to make it easier.
Okay.
That's all. But and to tell you the truth, most of the time I just rinse it, but I wanted to show you how to do it this way too. It's kind of like in the Vitamix. How often do you wash the Vitamix in the sink rather than doing it the way the demo people told you to do it?
Always. And I still have a problem not having the outside of the machine of the whether it's the Vitamix, the Blendtec, or the Breville. It gets so cloudy. How do you keep it like clear?
Oh, I think some people use vinegar and things like that. Mine, I don't care about that. Like, I'm happy it works, and I'm not so much about, oh, my Vitamix is a little cloudy. Here, I'm going to just show you from the sink. So, let's see, yeah, you can see everything. So I'm moving that. And see, the soap didn't really get as much on here, so I usually just wipe that a little bit with my thing. We're going to pull that out. There is going to be some nut pulp, right? Because that's really, really fine. Now, if you feel like there's, like right now, you can kind of see there's a little bit caught. And my very favorite nut milk brush is this, or milk maker brush is this little one. It is so good. And you don't have to do this. I'm being extra, right? So I know a lot of people are really picky, so that's done. And then this, often I just pop this open to make sure that little part there gets rinsed out really well. I feel it to see if it feels a little bit oily or not. And it doesn't really. And you could just clean it from here. And so again, while we've got this angle, I'll put it back together and we'll make something else. So again, I've got this, sliding that in there, putting this in here, and then we've got the lid. And that's it. Like, not only is that's it on the extra scale, right? So then we just put this guy right here and it's right ready to go. And that's the longest time it's ever going to take you to clean, ever. Does anybody have any questions
Oh,
about that so
all right.
far?
Well, listen, I have the machine, but I'm definitely sold on it now. If you have any questions, just place them in the chat. How do you blanch almonds, and what's the difference between blanched and not blanched? And
The skins are removed for
truly,
blanched almonds. Uh,
okay.
is all that it is. And it's up to you. You can just soak almonds and push them out of the skins, which I did once, but most people are never going to do that.
Okay. Somebody on Instagram saying to stop the cloudiness of a Vitamix, all you have to do is remember to wipe it dry with a paper towel after washing it. Don't let it drip dry. I called the company because I hated the fogginess. Thank you for that suggestion. I didn't know.
Oh,
You know, Kathy, I remember in culinary school, I used to get like bruised thumbs from blanching almonds, like pinching the brown. I mean, after a while, it really hurts.
I would not recommend to do it. So, like, if you're like me and you're all about the pulp, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and start buying them. If you're not, or you don't care if your ricotta is brown, then use regular almonds. But since I'm taking photos of some of this stuff, it also works really well in ice cream. So I've been using Okara and it doesn't change the color. So let's make an oat milk really quick. Here, and I'll rinse this guy out. So we're not getting almond in our oat. And speaking of that, you can do that. If you want your oat milk to taste a little bit like Oatly, put a couple of tablespoons of cashews in there with your oats. So what it does, so Oatly, I think they came out with a new one that doesn't have any added oil. It has a little bit of added oil. Why? Because it makes the mouth feel richer. Also, it means it can froth. So that's why you might want to put cashews in it. You could choose just to make regular oat milk. If that makes you happy, then you should
Yep.
be happy.
So there's a question from Pamela. Maybe she tuned in late. Where did you find the pulp mat? That actually comes with the milk maker when you buy it, and that's one of the cool things she likes about it.
And honestly, I would pay $60. I love it
If
that
you love it so
much.
much, I'll give you mine, because so Angela, hi Angela, how are you? Says, what makes the Nama juicer great? I could have sworn I did a video, but I'm not. Maybe I didn't post it. I'll do another because I've had two other juicers in my life. I've had the Breville and I've had the Jack LaLanne, and I actually have the Champion, which is out of business now. It has a huge, what do you call it, like feed chute. So with other juicers, you're standing there and you're putting it in, putting it in. They got this big, whatever it's called, the top part, and you can like just put like everything in and push a button, and it's really, really easy. And it also can make ice cream with like the way the Champion does. And I'll try to get more videos done. I'm sorry, I've been like, I don't know where I've been. It's Stanford, but I had a little break. So yeah. I got to make more videos. Okay.
So I'm putting 4 cups of water, a cup of rolled oats, and I went ahead and I think I just put a tablespoon of cashews. I might have put 2. We could go ahead and add dates and vanilla to this too if we want, or make a plain one.
When you make straight oat milk, what's your ratio of oats to water? And you say you don't need to soak the oats.
You don't. The only thing you need to soak the oats for that I've seen is the not the Nama, the Nutrimilk.
Right.
Now, I
That's right.
had somebody else talk about it, but in their book, in the recipe book, what's kind of cool too, once I find it, I'll show you guys. Do I have it marked? Yeah, there we go. Is they're telling you kind of what the different milks are. And one is just 1 cup of rolled oats, 3 to 4 cups of water. They're saying to add dates, which you can or not, and sea salt. So those of you who are not salt-free, if you add a little sea salt to your non-dairy milks, and I mean, let me see what they're calling for. They're calling for a pinch. What that does, it does two things. One, it'll make it taste a little bit sweeter. Two, it acts as a preservative. And so it'll make your oat milk last a little longer. Oat milk that you buy like Oatly lasts longer. Typically, homemade milk is going to last about 3 to 4 days. And if it's very hot, you can put cold water in here too, or probably put some ice in, and that will help it not be so slimy. So it's heat that makes it slimy.
Well, if it's heat that makes it slimy, the fact that this only takes a minute, that's not a lot of heat.
It should be really good. So what I recommend when people are making oat milk in their Vitamix is to use some ice, pulse, and stop, because the Vitamix will get hot. So let's give this one a go the way it is, because that's fairly chilly milk. I mean, water. Oop, let me turn it on. There we go.
I'll be putting the code for 10% off in the chat and in the show notes if you want to check it out. It does come with the mat. Yep. Maybe you can even buy the mat separate. I don't know. Check out the website because the 10% off is for any Nama product. So Kathy is singing the song of your people with this nut maker. It says apple and sorbet attachment. Yeah, the juicer. Yeah, you do need a separate attachment. Correct. It's called the sorbet. I haven't used it yet. I have to do stuff like that. Hey, Kathy, can you hear me? Maybe not. I'll just tell you there's another show tomorrow at 11, and I'll tell you all about it at the end of the show.
Okay.
I love the way it just pours out. That's so much easier than milking a cow. Hey, Kathy, have you ever just made oat milk with nothing but oats and water in there? And how did it taste?
Yeah, I think it tastes fine.
And what's your preferred ratio when you're doing just straight oats with no dates or cinnamon or nuts? What is your
Gosh.
preferred ratio?
Most of the time I do between a half a cup and a cup of oats and 4 cups of water. Or usually it's 3 cups of water and a cup of ice if I'm in the Vitamix. I just wanted people to, the reason I added a little bit, you're adding a little bit of cashews. So if you do any nuts at all, you're probably just using a little bit of this. With oat milk, if I was cooking with it, I wouldn't add any cashews in there, because when you're cooking it and adding it to heat, it's going to thicken up and stabilize naturally. So you don't need to be bothered with that.
So the cashews are like your thickener then.
Yeah, it just makes it a little thicker, a little richer, a little more like whole milk, even though there's just a little bit. Look at that. You
That
can kind
is
of,
so cool because we spent I don't drink plant milks because I don't eat cereal every day. My husband loves the granola that I make, and so we go through it really fast. So this will be great once I start using this, and as long as I can make it taste good, I'm sure
oh,
he'll.
you can't, even that just tastes good. There's nothing in there, no vanilla or anything like that. It tastes good. I like oat milk a lot. It does taste slightly oaty, which I think is a plus. Like I noticed in the Nama recipe book, they had a granola milk with like nuts and oats and cinnamon. So just you can kind of figure out what you like best and what fits best in your diet. So let's take a look at what oat pulp looks like. Okay. But you see how easy it is to put in and take out. This is gonna, it's going to be a little thicker, see how it's a little slimier? It's a little more wet. That's because it's oats. You're
Kathy, does it matter if you use like the regular rolled oats or the thick cut rolled oats or a lot of people like Lissa use the raw sprouted oats now. Is there a perfect oat for this?
I think any rolled oat would be fine. I would not use steel cut oats or oat groats in this machine, though soaked you might be able to, but I'm not sure. But see how this is just kind of hanging in there more because it's more like it's oats. It's more like a batter. So we can add some oat flour. We could add some maple syrup, or we could just, what I used to do when I made a lot of oat milk for when I did Outrageous Oats, my oat book, is I made these into cookies for the dogs.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have a preferred plant milk? Like, you know how when we're making certain soups and then, especially in the Instant Pot and afterwards, it says add a cup or more of plant milk. Is there like a science to it? Because like when at Rancho La Puerta, they always do coconut milk, which is really great, but not with pancreatitis because it's really, really high in fat. So does it matter what plant milk you use when you're making soups?
It's going to kind of depend on what you want your outcome to be, which I know sounds a little so like usually people are using coconut milk because of the fat and that it's thicker, right? So you could use 2 cups of oats and 4 cups of water and make a thicker oat milk. I love using oat milk in soups because it's going to thicken as it comes along. So we can, kind of simmer it and make sure we're whisking because the oats sediment will sink to the bottom, but it's a natural thickener. I also use that in like curries like a tikka masala. And one of the other things I do with both almond and soy pulp is you can blend that pulp. So I made an oat pulp mayo in class last week. So I took this with some non-dairy milk and made a thick, you can make cream cheese with it, sour
Oh,
cream.
whoa, that's mind blowing.
That's why I was saying I think I want to do a book on it because I think people aren't really thinking outside of the milk container. I am, I'm trying to decide. No, we'll do a combo milk. I'm not going to wash this. I'm going to be a rebel. And I thought we'd do something a little bit crazy. And it's kind of like what they have. They have a lavender London fog recipe. That's where I'm looking. And so they're doing it a little differently than I'm going to do it. I'm using it as a base. So I brewed some Earl Grey tea that's cooled off. We do not want to melt our machine, right? That is the last thing we want to do. And they say put 3 cups, but I'm going to put 4. Actually, you know what? This is almost, I'm going to put the whole thing in there. And this could be herbal tea. This could be rooibos Earl Grey. Okay, I want to make sure I don't go over the max. I made a lavender milk. If you go and look at my unboxing video, I literally made a lavender milk. Where's my lavender? Without, there it is, without lavender, without any oats in it by mistake, which is kind of funny. So this is culinary lavender. If you hate lavender and floral things, just leave it out. But I really didn't think this little bit of blending would infuse the lavender without heat, but it did. So they're saying a teaspoon. Let me get a teaspoon measure of, and when I say culinary lavender, what that means is don't go to your neighbor's house that you don't know what they sprayed on it and take their lavender or get lavender that's made for soap. Culinary lavender just means it's safe to eat. And I love like lavender and rose and things like that. And then they're going to do like a cup of almonds. Let's do some oats and almonds. And so they were going to put, we need a little bit of vanilla. They said a 1/4 teaspoon. I think I'm going to put more like a 1/2 teaspoon. So an Earl Grey is just, or a London Fog is Earl Grey with vanilla and milk. And then we'll need to put in some dates for a sweetener or some maple syrup. And I might go maple syrup for this. so I can use a little bit less and the flavor will stay a little bit more pure. So we're going to do 2. So I'm making a little bit more. We're going to do a cup of oats. And hopefully I didn't already put the oats in because I wasn't paying attention. So if I did, somebody tell Chef AJ to tell me. And then I think I'm just going to put in a couple of tablespoons. Actually, I don't need to use, I can use the non-blanched almonds because these are going to turn into truffles. And then I'm just going to actually make this unsweetened, and we'll sweeten the milk with some maple syrup. Since I'm doing it that way and I'm dangerously close to the max fill line. Get all that in there. So again, if this fails, this is my recipe and not their recipe. My made up recipe. Okay, we're going to let it go for about a minute. Once it's ready, there. And so the same thing can be done with matcha. If you have a matcha in the morning, you can put your matcha in here and actually make like a container of it without paying $12 for it at Whole Foods. And you'll feel from the back, you can feel that there's heat venting off of here, but there's not heat where this is. Okay. And so I use tea in place of water.
Yeah.
So that means you could make a nice chamomile tea or sleepy time tea. Make it, because we make night tea in the winter with a little bit of milk. So you can make it with oats and then you could just have it heated up in the microwave as you wanted it.
Yeah.
It's not going to last for weeks and weeks. It depends on the ingredient. Nuts are going to last longer than oats before it gets slimy.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
smells so good.
Brittany's saying, is it cheaper to make your own plant milk using this machine? Is it easy to clean? You must have come in late because that's kind of all we talked about the first hour. So if you don't mind, just scroll to the left and speed it up and catch up, hun. Because the answer is yes, if you use it enough. If you're only using it once, then no. But it's very easy to clean. It's the easiest. You know, Tanya says I've done a half a cup of almonds and a quarter cup shredded coconut and 4 cups water. Can use it to cook with and place the canned coconut. That sounds very good.
And another thing you can do, those of you who don't do coconut at all, maybe you're following the starch solution. What I do is you can use oat milk, any kind of milk that you want, and put a little bit of coconut extract in there. And I make Thai curries with that. Also, what I find amazing is the white coconut vinegar from California Balsamics. It is also good. And if there's enough or a little bit of fat in here, it will clabber ever so slightly, making it thicker, which is great. Like, so Chef AJ, when you were saying like somewhere where you might put coconut milk in that you want the flavor but not the fat, those are 2 other ways you can do it. So let me get a little.
Yep.
Oh,
Nurse Sandy said, what are the stackable containers you're using?
everybody asks me. You can sometimes find them on the internet. They stopped making them. They're Kilners. And so I love it because then I have all of my milk ingredients over in a little bookcase over there. And it's just really nice. It keeps things pretty fresh. Okay, so we're going to put this one in here. And then
Tanya just said something profound. I'm not sure exactly what she's referring to, but she said you could use coconut water you can use coconut water instead of water. Oh my God, that sounds like it would be like amazing.
you totally can. So you can do any liquids that are not going to be damaging. I probably wouldn't put like 3 cups of vinegar in here or something like that, because that could theoretically damage something. It probably wouldn't. And I'm just going to put probably about a 1/4 cup of maple syrup in this one, but you could have used dates. You could leave it unsweetened.
And so you can put the pitted dates right in there when you're making the milk.
Yes, just make sure you get the pits out. And so then, but let's say you wanted yours to not be sweetened, then you could have some sweetened for somebody else. And I like these containers too because they have that little rubber seal, so it's easy to shake up. That's why I picked this one. And so one of these at Starbucks, probably this would probably be like 3 or 4, is like $7. So this is another thing, and I wanted to talk about a little bit, is that you can do things that you would get at the coffee shop if that's something you do. So we'll get this out and then we'll clean it a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to put this back in with the other oat, and I'll use it to make more truffles. Okay. Oop, sorry.
And what do you put in your truffles? Like more dates to get them to be sticky?
Yeah, this is pretty sticky. I probably would go ahead with the oats at least. I think they're sticky enough on their own, so I'd be using more oat flour and things like that to try and thicken it together and make it where it can get Play-Doh consistency. But you could add a liquid sweetener. You could also sprinkle in some extra fine date powder, like Well Your World date powder, if it's not sweet enough. But yeah, I just kind of freewheel it when I'm making them for us, because I'm like, sometimes if you're just making one batch, it might only be 6 truffles. It
Mhm.
might be truffles for the night. So if I do the book, I will do some recipes though, for sure.
Kathy, have you ever made pea milk or zucchini milk or potato milk?
I haven't, because I feel like even I was gonna make potato milk, but I felt like it wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do, because you still add some nuts. You're still adding other things. Pea milk I'm interested in, but I think like soy, you would need to cook the peas before you put it in here, and it should be just that simple. And here, this time we'll just wash ooh, over at the sink. And let me get that back on. I waited too long and it's like, I'm not going to do it anymore. Now you're seeing my ceiling. Oh, nope, because I didn't change the camera. You're just seeing me with my back to the camera. I'm a naughty, naughty content creator. All right, so I showed you before how you can do it on its own, Vitamix demo style. When it's mostly oats, there's not going to be as much residue anyhow as nuts, I feel like. So this is the quick, easy, dirty way of cleaning this. And if I would recommend with this, the Ninja Creamy, food processor, really almost any kitchen appliance, the sooner you clean it or get it into water, the happier person you will be. Because things are going to dry on and be significantly harder to get off. So let's say after my last one I make for you guys, I need to go to the store. I just fill up the sink with water and put all the components there. Just make sure you don't leave them there forever, ever. See where I missed a little bit there.
Somebody's asking what brush are you using?
This one is just my normal kitchen brush that I have in this little thing with dish soap so it doesn't go bad. Like, I feel like it keeps things sanitized. This is my favorite little brush. and it's an OXO brush. So again, we'll put this thing back together, which everyone thinks will take forever. And there we go. Now we're ready to make some more milk. And let's come over here. And I'm going to rinse this out because it now tastes and smells like lavender and Earl Grey, which is delightful for this. But if we make something else, it might not be so delightful.
Karen, thanks for saying this is so fun and informative. I love these deep dives. I mean, I never got into like Instagram and Reels. I know everybody's looking for like 60 seconds, but I can't learn anything in 60 seconds. I don't know about you guys.
Well, and the people who don't like my demos are people looking for that because I'm too detailed.
I'm long form girl, so I could sit here forever and watch you make things. So yeah. Karen, hi Karen. I hope you're coming to Vegas. She says she uses coconut water in her ice cream recipes. Yeah, so I started using coconut water because I had pancreatitis and even the small amount of fat in the plant milks was like just too much and I had to be on a liquid diet. And so the easiest thing to do was to make, smoothies and coconut water worked great and it had no fat. And now I really love the taste of it. And you get the big box of organics at Costco.
And what would you guys rather see? Golden milk, or I have a pink rose almond milk, or we could do like a matcha.
Please put in the chat if you want, just put gold or matcha, and Kathy will make one of those too. Hopefully, it won't be an exact tie. I'm okay with either. I know what I would prefer, but I want you guys to choose.
You want golden milk, don't you?
Actually, it has turmeric, right?
Yeah. Can you do?
I hate turmeric and I don't want to say hate. I don't really like ginger, turmeric, or lavender. I like coconut and vanilla, but let's see what the people like. Matcha, we got one matcha, two matchas. Ooh, we got a golden aura matcha from Tanya. Let's see if anybody on Instagram is voting. Matcha, matcha, matcha. Oh, one pink rose on Instagram. So
Okay.
far matcha's winning.
Okay. And the
Yep.
pink rose is actually Nama's recipe. I'm using it as reference, but I gave you a lavender. So a lot of people really don't like floral flavors. So they have in their little book a pistachio matcha milk. We can do it differently than this. Okay, so there's my pitcher of water. We're going to need 3 to 4 cups of water. It's always going to say 3 to 4, so you can change your strength. So I'm probably always going to use 4 and just add more stuff in because I'd rather not make it again. So my thing's closed, my little spout's closed. Going to put 4 cups of water in there. Okay. In their recipe, they're encouraging a half cup of pistachio, half a cup of cashew, 2 teaspoons of matcha, some dates, sea salt, vanilla. All right, so let's get our matcha in there. And I love a good matcha. And in fact, one of the things I really like is a blackberry matcha. So we could put like blackberries in here too. Or you could put blueberries in there. You could do some other things. Okay, got most of that done. Let's do, I have some pistachios. So let's do a little less than a half a cup of pistachios. Well, maybe a little bit. I'm trying to think. The reason I'm changing my mind is I want it to taste pistachio. So I put about a half cup. And then we could do almond or oat. What would you rather have, Chef AJ? Oat?
Oh, it's just lower in fat, which I have to be right now from the pancreas, which is on day 60, but it's healing. It's almost better.
Yay. I'll be glad when you can get back up in there. I'm going to actually grab get out of there. Woo! It got all over me.
Oh, are those 1 degree sprouted oats?
They are. I love actually, you were asking me about sprout oats. These are the ones I use because I get them at Costco
Yep.
cheap.
I love when Costco has them. Sometimes they don't, but they are great.
All right. So this is about 3/4 of a cup. Okay. We're going to put some dates in here, and that would be to your sweetness. I've taken the pits out of this. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put like 4 in there. All right, we're going to put the lid on. Make sure all the stuff is stuffing down there. And there we go.
Wow, that's pretty. Kathy's going to come back next month for a third machine, which I bought and don't know how to use, the Ninja Crispy, because my Go Wise air fryer died after a long time, like 10 years. So she's the best. She explains things so well. And Cheryl has a new channel. Kathy hasn't talked about it, but it's an Explorer channel because they're never home anymore. I have to wait now sometimes to get my text answered. Hey, Kathy. She can't hear me. I could talk about her right now, but I won't. Those are you in my Chef AJ and Friends community. She's going to be coming by and doing something real special. Hey, Kathy.
Yes.
You should talk about Cheryl's new channel. And here's a comment from Tanya. She says, yes, the Nama is an investment, but to me, it blows my Vitamix out of the water for plant milks. Better milk, ease of use and cleaning. I can make milk in my J2 juicer too, but it's better in my M1.
Well, I think out of all the milk makers, this wins just on ease of use, cleaning, and straining. So if this is in your budget, get it. If it's not, go look at healthyslowcooking.com. I have some that for as little as like $50 that you could get and use to start on kind of your milk making journey. But the reason I wanted to make the London Fog and this green tea or something is I want you to see not only are you just buying plant milk in containers and you're having to do something with those containers. Now you don't. Also, this much matcha would probably cost you $30. And that's not how much the ingredients for this cost. And if you went to Starbucks, you can't get it sweetened with dates.
Yeah.
Right? Or maple syrup, if that's what you want to use.
That's
Or
so cool. You sold me on it, so I already got it, but it's just you make it's so easy. And I like the look of it, and it's not huge like the Nutri Milk. It fits under the counter really nicely.
And it's very light. So like I actually I have so many appliances, I have to put them different places. So I move it behind the couch and I move it over here. It's not a thought. It's just very easy. And another thing you can do too is you could put all your milk ingredients in. You could put cold brew concentrate. Healthyslowcooking.com. I have a cold brew concentrate recipe. You can use Ticino or another coffee substitute. So it doesn't have to have caffeine in it. Other teas. So you can make this be your own little barista too.
Very cool. Hi, Dixie. Everybody's saying hi.
And yes, we would love it if you guys would follow us on our plant-based travel channel called the Plant-Based Explorers. That's the channel Cheryl and I are doing. We're traveling. Right now, we're doing a lot of cruising, but in the summer, we're going to be doing some other things. We're staying in Iceland extra 5 days, and we're going to be traveling across the UK and talking about the plant-based and vegan food we eat. And just traveling as plant-based people can be not necessarily a little hard, but you have to do a little research and planning. So we'll be sharing all that with you. So please join us on the journey at the Plant-Based Explorers.
Thank you. Hopefully you put that in the show notes. So says just made almond milk and milk maker from Amazon. Got it today. Made it in 8 minutes and it's easy to clean. What's it called? Because she made hers in 1 minute.
I am not here to shame all the other milk makers. I will say, just like my favorite regular sized, regular milk maker other than this that has heat is the Meomat. My favorite tiny one that I travel with, it not on cruises, but I take with me in the hotel room and make fresh cashew or oat milk every day, is the Arc Mira. That's the least expensive one. Find the one that works for you. However, the number one complaint about milk makers are it's too hard to clean and it's too hard to strain. And I will say this meets and exceeds that. So I'm not here to tell you what milk maker you should like, but if this solves your problem, save up for it.
Yeah. And maybe they'll, I don't know if they have specials or anything, I don't think these products are available on Amazon. I know Prime Day's coming up, but hey, I always say get the biggest and best you can afford. And if you're going to use it, it will pay for itself over time. Kathy, I'm swirling every night because I don't know if it's psychological, but somehow having it in a swirl just makes it taste better to me.
Well, as a kid, and because we're close to the same age, like getting soft serve ice cream was like the super treat that you couldn't get everywhere. So, like when I was very little, that was vacation food. So it has a lot of memories for me, and so
Yeah.
it is nice, and it's yummy, and it cools you down. And you guys, there is a sale on my Whole Food Plant-Based Ninja Creamy ebook too, which is the one where I started introducing all the whole food plant-based thickeners to make it thick, just like premium ice cream. So that's down in the show notes. So make sure to get it while it's on sale. Hopefully by next week, I will have a pre-order up for my Ninja Creamy ebook 3, and it won't repeat anything that's in 2 recipe-wise, so you can have both.
If you could learn how to teach us how to make a healthy cone, because they all have sugar and most of them.
That's going to be in ebook 3.
Oh my God, I can't wait because you know what I do is I put it in the cone, but I don't eat the cone. I like holding it in the cone and then Charles eats my cone, but I did eat it once even though it had sugar. I got a gluten-free one, but the waffle cones don't come gluten-free. And the waffle cones are even better because you can get 2 big vanilla ice cream cones with your sweet potato date vanilla and ice cream recipe.
What you're going to need, and we can talk about this too, they have either like a waffle cone bowl maker or a waffle cone maker. So you will need a special appliance.
That's okay. And I do have one that, as long as it's gluten free, and I do have a small little waffle maker to make the bowl, but I like to hold it,
Yeah.
like this. So, Nurse Sandy says, what's a good portable milk maker?
The Arc Mirror is the one I travel with. Let's, I think it's over here. If it's right where I can grab it, I will. And it's packed, but it's about this size. This is not it, but it's about this sized.
That's cool.
So it makes about 1.5 to 2 cups of milk at a time, which is great for traveling. And so that's why it's dry to bring cashews or oats, and we just make it as we need it.
Nice. Marjoy says she just got your Ninja Creamy ebook too. She loves it. She printed it out. Yeah, it's a fabulous book. Kathy, you're like the best. You're the appliance university.
Ooh, I may have to steal that. Maybe that needs to be
Yeah,
a
no, really.
class.
I mean, because it's just you make it so much easier. Thank you so much. And I can't wait till you come back next month. I think it's June 13th, I think at the same time, 11 a.m. And we'll demystify yet another wonderful tool. And this one I don't think is that expensive, right? The Ninja Crispy is not expensive.
No, I think it's more in the 200-ish range.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and we'll talk about tips and tricks if you already have an air fryer that you can use in whatever air fryer you have, just like we've been doing. So, this isn't all about, I don't have this, I won't learn anything. Did you know have you been making matcha in your milk maker? Because you can make it in any of them.
Oh boy, you're great. You should actually, yeah, we made up make up anyway, you're the best. Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. And I am going to, I think, make oat milk the first thing as soon as we get off the air.
Oh, I can't wait. Send me a picture.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Kathy.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And thanks. If you want 10% off, discount code below. Get Kathy's ebook. It's also discounted. And please come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time for another show. We have Amy Story. She is not only a breast cancer survivor and thriver, but she's hosting a wellness weekend at the Finger Lakes at Keuka College in July. That I'm one of the speakers, and some of your other plant-based chefs and educators and authors will be there as well. And the Finger Lakes is awesome. You can kayak. It's so much fun. And we'll be talking about that and also her story about being a cancer survivor. Take